Thomas Sowell is wrong about Ebonics. His assertion that African American vernacular English is not African in origin and ultimately derives from the language of poor whites in England is absolutely false. Any thorough analysis of black slang in America provides solid evidence that the ancestors of African Americans were Africans that maintained the grammar and syntax of their original languages while adopting the vocabulary of plantation owners during the enslavement process. Historically, there has always been the racist assumption that Ebonics reflected the inability of black people to understand English. Racists refuse to consider the possibility of Africans preserving their languages. There are many examples of white authors misinterpreting the origin of African words in the Gullah language, which is the earliest surviving form of African American English. The Mende term "swank," meaning to be proud, was misinterpreted as the English swagger. The Wolof leer, meaning small, was misinterpreted as the English little. The Wolof bench, meaning tooth, was misinterpreted as the English bone. The Twi fa, which means to take, was misinterpreted as the English four. In summation, racists refuse to consider the possibility of Africans speaking their mother languages. Holloway's research suggests that combinations of classes of sounds, units of meaning, syntax behaviors, communication styles, and folkloristic modalities can be considered to show that Ebonics is much more uniquely African than European. Behavior, proverbs, riddles, doesn't, and call and response are indicative of African ancestry. There are structural remnants of African languages that are maintained in Ebonics. By using the creolization theory, one can trace the development of Ebonics from language inference, isolation factors, and non-popular linguistic models. Ebonics was greatly influenced by the phonological and syntactic structures of its African parent languages. The first step in the development of Ebonics is the acquisition of foreign vocabulary. Here the original morphology, phonology, and grammar is maintained. The next step is pidginization, which is the acquisition of more vocabulary and some grammar while maintaining the original morphology and the majority of the original grammar. Creolization is the next step, and here only the original morphology is maintained. In the final Englishization stage, the original communication style, some of the basic vocabulary, and the ability to code switch is maintained. The following similarities can be found between Ebonics and African languages. It is possible in Efik to express an action that occurs habitually in the present or future with time determined by context rather than vocal inflection. Ebonics also uses aspect rather than tense in some verbal constructions. Here we can see African verb tenses and their utilization in Ebonics. Present, he go. Near past, he gone. Remote past, he been gone. Future, he gon' go. Aspect of progress, he gonna. Aspect of completion, he done gone. Past aspect of repetition, he been gonna. Brewer observed contextual indications of time in Twi, Igbo, Ewe, Efik, Jamaican Patois, and Gullah. Examples, in Gullah, I di go, I go, I went. Jamaican Patois, yesterday me buy saltfish. Ewe, me I go. Igbo, Adabu abo, Ada is or was carrying a basket. Twi, Fa, he takes, which can be used at all times. The Ebonic verb system has 4 perfectives, whereas English only has 2. The present and past are similar in the 2 grammars, but Ebonics also has a completive perfect and a remote time perfect. Examples, completive near past, I done walked. Remote time perfect, I been walked. West African Pidgin English and Ebonics are also very similar. In West African Pidgin English, 2 aspect markers occur before the verb, D for continuing or habitual action and don for completed action. The word been is used as a past tense marker. Efik and Ewe have similar verb constructions. In Efik, any verbal construction may have a habitual counterpart. In Ewe, na is suffixed to the verb nayinye for I generally go. Morphological and grammatical connections are demonstrated between Ebonics and West African languages. The languages of Inner Africa are tonal and use pitch distinctions to differentiate words in the same way that Europeans use stress. Vocal color plays a vital role. Preachers use intonation and inflections to modify or amplify specific ideas, concepts, or emotions. Harmonizing is a principal function of black speech behavior, and every attempt is made to reach internal harmony, the blending of sounds and ideas for effectiveness. Rhythm, tone, and pitch are markers of African origin. Ebonics uses a continuation form without reference to time, especially after time has been referred to in a previous clause. Example, He clumb the tree to shake the simmons down, whilst I be picking them up. I see the something a-coming down the road, it keep coming and it keep getting bigger. And this means he climbed the tree to shake the persimmons down while I was picking them up. I saw something coming down the road and it kept coming and kept getting bigger. In Standard American English, the speaker must inflect all verbs for tense. In Ebonics, the speaker is not redundant in expressing tense, but nevertheless is redundant in expressing the manner or aspect of the action using a prior to the gerund to imply an iterative meaning. The main retentions in Ebonics are the communicative processes such as serialization and the unique usage of tense and aspect. Neither phenomenon has any analogues in the English language, providing solid evidence that Ebonics derived in large part from the genius of West and Central African languages. Serial verbs, or verbs that occur together in a single verb phrase, are seen in Ebonics in various West African languages. They are used when all the verbs share a common subject in the surface structure. In Vagala, ueu tenu, he did it gave me for, or he did it for me. In Basari, unakitu, literally he did connective gave me. He gave it to me. In Twi, odesike namame, he take money gave me, or he gave me money. In Vagala, upakize mongwo, he took knife cut me, meaning he cut the meat with a knife. In Yoruba, omu iwewa, he took book come, meaning he brought a book. Now these are some African American examples. I took consideration and joined the Lord. I accepted religion. Turn loose and drop down from there. Come down from there. I hear tell you went home. I hear that you went home. He done picked up and went to town. He went to town. The following is a list of words of African origin that further show proof of African influence not only on Ebonics but the English language in general. Banana is from the Wolof banana. Banjo is from the Kimbundu word mbanza. Basenji is a breed of dog from Congo. Bongo is the Congolese Lokeli word bungu. Bukra is from Efik in Ibibio. Mbakara, meaning master. Bwana is the Swahili word for boss. Cha-cha-cha is from the Kimbundu onomatopoeia for ringing bells or rattles worn around the legs of female dancers. Chigger is from the Wolof and Yoruba jiga, meaning insect. Chimpanzee is from Shaluba, Kivili chimpanzee. Kola is from the West African Temne as kola, as well as the Mandinka, kolo. Coffee is derived from the Ethiopian region of Kaffa, where coffee is believed to have originated. Conga is a feminized form of Congo, through Spanish. Dengue is from the Kiswahili dinga, meaning cramp-like fever. Djembe is from the Mandinka phrase Ankanje Ankabe, which means everyone gather in peace. Fandango comes from Kikongo. Giranuk is a Somali word meaning giraffe neck. Gnu is from Nu and Gu. Goober is from Kikongo and Kimbundu and Guba. Gumbo is from Kimbundu and Gombo, meaning okra. Indaba is from Kosa and Zulu, meaning meeting. Jambalaya is from Shaluba. Jamboree is from Swahili Jambo. Jazz is from the West African languages of Mandinke and Temne, which have the words Jasi and Yas respectively. Jive is from the wool of Jev. Jumbo is from Swahili Jambo or Jumbi. Juju is from Yoruba. Juk is from the Wolof and Bambara Juk through Gullah. Kalimba is from Shona. Kwanzaa is from the Kiswahili phrase Matunda ya Kwanzaa, meaning first fruits. Kwashiorkor is from the Ga language, meaning swollen stomach. Impala is from the Zulu language. Lapa is from the Soto language, meaning enclosure or barbecue. Makak is from the Central African Makaku. Mamba is from the Zulu Mamba. Marimba is from the Kimbundu and Swahili Marimba or Malimba. Merengue possibly came from Fulani Mererek, meaning to shake or quiver. Mojo is from the Fula Moko'o or medicine man. Obeya is from Efikubia and Twi Abayifo. Okra is from the Igbo word Okuru. Akapi is from the Congo. Safari is from the Swahili word to travel. Sambo possibly comes from the Fula Sambo, meaning uncle. Sangoma is a Zulu word for traditional healer. Tango is from the Ibibio Tamgu. Tsetsi is from Tswana Tsetsi and the Luya Tsitsi. Voodoo is from the West African languages of Ewe and Fan, from Vodou, meaning spirit. Yam is from the Fula Nyami and the Twi Anyinyam. Zebra is from Congo, and zombie comes from the Central African languages of Kikongo, Zumbi, and the Kimbundu word Nzambi. It is clear from the evidence presented above that African American English is definitely African in origin and should be further studied by African-centered scholars to validate the linguistic diversity within the African American community. By recognizing Ebonics as a legitimate language system, we empower Black youth to embrace their cultural heritage and develop a stronger sense of African identity so they can maintain their historical legacy in an ever-changing adversarial world.